We know the old adage, even with the best laid plans, something goes wrong. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't make those plans in the first place. In fact, your estate and legacy plan may be the most important one of your life. So here is some advice today to get you started. And Cory Sickles with Safe Harbor Retirement Group knows every facet of estate and legacy planning, so he is here to give us some help. Cory, good to see you.
Good to see you, Robin.
First off, what is the difference between legacy planning and estate planning?
Well, a legacy plan, Robin, is simply when you're actually now saying how you want your assets to be distributed. Do you want to be able to give it, to your spouse, to your kids, grandkids, however you want that to be distributed if something would happen to you. A estate plan is actually putting that legacy plan in place. And the way that you do that, of course, is by working with an attorney in order to, do your wills or a trust, do your financial or healthcare power of attorney and your living wills. So at Safe Harbor, well, one of the things that we do is I sit down with all prospects or clients that come in, put together their legacy plan, and then we also have an attorney on site that you can use or utilize in order to put your estate plan in action.
And so since you do deal with this a lot, what would you say are some of the most common or the biggest mistakes that people make in doing this, and how can they prevent it?
Well, what I would say is the biggest mistake is procrastination. Everybody wants to be, everybody wants to be able to put it off. It's something that no one wants to talk about, right? So the only thing that I would say is, if you come in and sit down with me, we can put something into place. It's a simple process to go through it. And the only thing I would say is if you don't have a estate plan in place or even a legacy plan in place today, you need to put one in place tomorrow, because it's so important to be able to avoid, all the probate costs, time, if something unexpected would happen to you.
And Cory, the process you mentioned is simple. So what is it? Do people have to have, medical directives, wills? Like, what is involved in this?
Well, it's a simple process. You come in and you sit down and you meet with me, or you can meet even with another financial advisor. We're going to take that overall. We're going to take a complete look of your entire portfolio, find out exactly on how you want your assets to be distributed. Who do you want them to be able to go to? The nice part about it is once we kind of determine all that, we also, again, have an attorney here on site that can actually put that in place for you. Because one of the things we do try to be is a full service. And part of being a full service financial planning firm is be able to make sure that you do have your legacy and estate plan, in place.
Now, does that include kind of that medical aspect of who would be able to make the decisions for you if something were to happen? Is all of that included in this?
Yeah. So when we start talking about what you really need, yes, healthcare and your living will is part of that package, because even especially where we are right now with the pandemic, you want to make sure you have all that stuff in place. You don't know how, if you do get COVID, it's going to affect you. But more importantly, not outside of COVID, you don't know when anything's going to happen, and you want to make sure that you're not procrastinating. Just get your documents in place, and we can help you with that.
And so you say it's easy for anyone to get started, but once they have this plan in place, what is the next step for them, I guess? Is it a set it and forget it type of plan?
Well, it definitely is not. One thing that I highly recommend is once a year, especially if you have a financial services professional, sit down with them and review it. Things change. People might pass. You might remarry. I hate to say this, but sometimes, kids or even spouses pass as well. And you just need to make sure that's always current, because if something does unexpectedly happen, you want to make sure that it's going to go where you want it to go. And more importantly, that you're going to avoid probate and the costs associated with probate as well.
Right. And that's the thing people don't often think about, right? The costs associated with that on top of it. And you could lose a lot of what you intended to go to a family member or somebody after you pass. So, Cory, I know you offer a complimentary consultation. Is that a simple way for people to kind of discuss this and get this started?
Yeah, it's a simple way. We have offices in Easton and Dublin. You can schedule a complimentary meeting just by, dialing 614-760-0670. It's a simple process. You can come in, we can just discuss your situation, and and get your legacy and estate plan in place.
Yeah, and I love how you always say if you don't have one today, have one tomorrow. So it is safeharboroh.com. Cory, always good to see you.
Good to see you, Robin.